and 90% of the people we sell to are first-time homeowners. And for us, it's how do we give them that opportunity for the American dream, give them affordable housing at a great price. Now, of course, we still need to make a profit, but we want to drive that mission of really making affordable housing available.
Welcome back to the Massive Passive Cashflow Podcast. I'm Gary Wilson, your host. I'm so glad to have you back listening to the show or watching if that's what you're doing. That's great. We have a great guest today, Robert Howell from upstate South Carolina, near and dear to my heart. Some of y'all have heard me mention that in the past. And so we're going to have a lot of fun today. This is a great program, and you're going to want to take notes. If you're driving, please don't do that. Just you'll get the recording, and you can get the show notes. So we'll have it in the show notes for you. And all you got to do is leave a review. So first off, Robert, welcome to the show, man. I'm so glad to have you on. I can't tell you. I've been looking forward to this, and after our brief introduction, I'm even more excited. So welcome aboard.
Thank you, Gary. Excited to be here.
Yeah. If you wouldn't mind, I always like to start off with a little bit about who you are, and if you could share with people, what got you into this business? I mean, was there something inspiring, or maybe if your dad was already doing it, your granddad? Kind of take us back to what was the starting point for you getting into this?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, Gary. The way I started was in COVID times. I was doing event marketing and global event marketing for Coca-Cola. COVID hit, and I said, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. There's never going to be an event again. And I'd always been passionate about real estate. And I said, well, I'd been passionate about real estate. I should look into buying and selling real estate. I'd never done it before, but and I was had a bit of risk adversity. And so I started buying and selling low affordable housing in South Carolina. That was back when I could buy a house for $5,000 in Liberty, South Carolina, which you're probably familiar with. Anyhow, started selling those, ran across mobile home parks, and then the rest is history. Started really diving deep into the mobile home niche.
Good. Now, let me ask you, with mobile homes, I've interviewed other people also to do this, and everybody's got their own unique way of doing things, which is great because you take something that works and then you improvise, adapt, come up with new creative little nuances. But is your model fundamentally, is it based on actually owning the park, and then the people that are in the homes themselves, are they renters? Or
yeah, it's about half and half, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, kind of unravel that a little bit. Maybe give us an example. How about maybe your first one and your most recent one to show that maybe there's been a transition in your strategy too,
Yeah. So the way it started is buying and selling affordable housing. Was buying some houses from a gentleman, and he said, hey, my nephew owns this mobile home park across the street. I didn't really know anything about mobile home parks, but I knew a lot about affordable housing. I said, yeah, I'd be interested in talking with him. So I had a conversation with him. We negotiated for probably 6 months. Well, come to find out, it was a really great deal, and I didn't even know it. It was a 100-lot mobile home park, and for $500,000. At the time, just a steal of a deal, and I had no idea. But it's quite scary. So I owned that, fixed it up, and after a year, I sold that mobile home park, and then that enabled me to go and buy a bunch more mobile home parks. And so now kind of the way I look at it is I continue to buy mobile home parks. They're a great asset for long-term income and retirement income. But I've also pivoted now to doing land home packages. So that is more active work and active income, where I'll buy a piece of land, I'll put a brand new manufactured home or mobile home on it, and then sell that land and home together as a package.
Okay. So when you're doing that now, you're acquiring the asset and then you're reselling the asset. So it's literally you're two unique separate transactions. But the end game is, obviously we need to make a business. If you don't make a profit, you don't have a business. but the fulfillment part is coming in when the buyer that buys it, what we call the end user, they've got an improved product right now to move into. It sounds like, is that part of the, like, do you have the vision statement or your the mission for the business? Is that how that's evolved? Is that in the future too? Is that what you're looking for going forward?
Yeah, that's right. So For the land home packages, it's really about, how can we give folks an affordable house, a really nice house. Actually, we think is better than a site built house because it's built in a factory under controlled
Mm-hmm.
conditions, using the same exact process every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And we could give them that opportunity to move in typically for less than they can buy a site built house. And 90% of the people we sell to are first time homeowners. And
Yeah.
for us, it's how do we give them that opportunity for the American dream, give them affordable housing at a great price. Now, of course, we still need to make a profit, but we want to drive that mission of really making affordable housing available.
Yeah. Well, you lead with value, and you're coming from contribution. And I love the quote, one of my favorite heroes who used to sell in South Carolina, by the way, Zig Ziglar, down in
Oh yeah.
Florence. Yeah. And before he moved to Dallas, one of his famous statements was, if you just simply help enough other people get what they want, you'll be get plenty of what you want. And it's a shift in mindset, because like I said before, the reason why businesses go out of business is because they're spending more than they're making. That's it. All the other factors lead up to that are just circumstances. But the reality is when you lead with value and you come from contribution, you'll always have a steady stream of clients. And that's one of the critical factors in staying alive is people just word of mouth say, hey, man, you need to work with Robert Howell. This guy provides, I got a great house at a great price. I've never done it without this program. Um, so how are if you don't mind sharing some of your strategy, like how do you identify the opportunities at the outset? Are you using, some people buy lists, some people pay for tools, like now we can have software programs that go in and to the county records everywhere, and you can find what looks like the ideal opportunities, and you have to still, reach out to people and make that happen. But how do you, if you don't mind sharing that, without divulging anything that's going to be, a competitive advantage, but
No,
you're over
that's good.
the how
We
part.
listen. I love helping people and sharing information. Do it every single day. But in terms of the land home packages, our very first step is finding land and finding it at a competitive price. Now, the great thing about land home packages is when we're finding land, we don't necessarily need to find it at a 50% discount. We can
Mm-hmm.
still pay almost retail for the land and still make money on the back end and offer affordable product. But we are still doing off market. So typically what we're doing is we're doing mail. We do some text messaging, maybe some cold calling to sellers off market to try to get them to sell to us. And that's our direct outreach. In addition, we can work with realtors and look for opportunities that are on the market, or maybe opportunities that the realtors have as a pocket listing or whatever it may be. So we start there with finding the land. And then, of course, once we find the land, we've had to go through a due diligence process. What I really love about the manufactured housing space is once we buy the land and we go through the due diligence process, everything else remains the same. And so I can sleep really good at night knowing that I did my due diligence properly. And we've got a whole checklist that we go through. And if I do that checklist properly, then I know that we're going to have success on the back end.
Yeah, that's awesome. If now you mentioned, obviously we talked about South Carolina, but it sounds like you've expanded into the surrounding states. What's your target geography? I mean, have you ever branch out? Like I know Ohio, a lot of people that work in the Southeast, they like Ohio too. And I like Ohio, but it's quite a drive to get from Ohio to South Carolina.
That's right. Yeah, we look primarily, I mean, to hit our goals of where we want to be financially and the many houses we want to provide in the affordable housing space. To be honest, we could probably do it all just in South Carolina. There's that
Yeah.
much opportunity, and there's such a need for affordable housing. That being said, we have executed on deals in Tennessee, Georgia, and North Carolina, and we're open to going in other areas. We have a program where we teach people how to do the land home development, and we have
Mhm.
students all across the country, from California to Colorado to Virginia to Florida. You name it, they're executing programs. So it's possible to develop these anywhere, really.
Yeah. Well, I know, and every now and then I'll get uh, I mean, it's probably half joking, but a message from somebody saying, would you quit talking about Alabama? We like it the way it is down here, and everybody's coming out. So Alabama's like the next Tennessee, it seems like, and I like it there. I mean, it's growing. You've got some great universities. Of course, if you move to Alabama, it is a requirement that you love football. So that's you can't have, of course, the same thing in South Carolina. But I mean, if you're, I mean, side note, we can talk outside of this, but I can make a couple of introductions for you. Some pretty good people down there are doing pretty good, and Arkansas too, by the way.
Love
Arkansas, I'm
that.
telling you, it's starting to get a lot of attention. And it's just another hop, skip, and a
I was
jump
born
away
in
from Alabama.
Arkansas.
Were you really? All right.
Yeah, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I think mosquito capital of the world.
You're probably right. Yeah, I have to say this because this is funny. And it's the guy's long since been president, but I was teaching there several years ago, probably 10 years ago, and I was coming from Missouri down through Arkansas teaching there, Fayetteville, all the way over to Little Rock, and then across into Tennessee and Alabama or Georgia and all that. And I'm going down the road, and I noticed not just one, but several hotels had on their marquee on the sign up front, Bill Clinton slept here.
Oh,
At first,
really?
I thought, well, that's kind of neat because you see George Washington slept here, and I realized, wait a minute, they're making a joke out of this whole thing. And somebody said, oh, that's what they're doing. They're just playing up to the what was in the news. Which I just thought that was hilarious.
That's funny.
Bill Clinton is a fun guy to be around, and I feel bad if this is embarrassing for him, but it's just that the people there are having fun with it themselves. Why not? Why not? If you got like a lemon, make lemonade out of it, right?
Yep, yep, yep. That's funny.
But back to the show. Sorry, got off on a tangent there. Now we talked about the geography and the fact that you can do this in other areas, and you have folks that are doing this in other areas. So it sounds like you have a way to help people get up and running in this business. Through a program, is it something you're doing? Like, if you want to touch on that, and don't be shy. People are out there hungry for this kind of information.
Hey there, did you know you can join a free real estate mastermind session every Monday night? It's called Monday Night Live, and it kicks off at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm Gary Wilson, and every week I host this live class, joined by investor agents from across the country and around the world. And here's the best part: no selling, no recruiting, just pure, actionable real estate education. Every Monday, we cover everything from the basics to advanced strategies. We even bring in expert guests once or twice a month. Topics like how to buy property using crypto, how AI is reshaping the real estate landscape, what the metaverse and blockchain mean for real estate deals today. Whether you're a new investor or a seasoned pro, you'll walk away with real value, and you'll have the chance to ask questions live, connect with others, and expand your network. Sound good? Then head over to realestatewithgarywilson.com. Click the Resources tab, select Monday Night Live, and you'll find recent replays plus a full schedule. You can register for any upcoming session, even weeks in advance. And if you're watching this on social media, just check the video description for the direct registration link. I'll see you Monday night. Bring your questions, your notepad, and your drive to grow. I look forward to connecting with you.
Appreciate you asking. And we talked a little bit about it before the show, but it's kind of an accidental program, and that's not maybe that's a bad salesman approach, but at the end of the day, we're operators, and me and my partners in the education program operate day in and day out. And one of the partners, Brent Bowers, goes by the Land Chart. He came to me and said, "Hey, listen, you're already doing a great job executing on these land home developments. Why don't we partner up and we'll teach people how to do it?" Brent's the expert at teaching people how to find land. We're the expert at doing land home deals with mobile homes. And so we came together last December and have been teaching people, hey, this is how you could execute this in your local market, or maybe not even your local market, in another market. We have a guy that's in Texas, and he's executing land home deals in Florida. And so what we do is you join our program, and we'll teach you exactly the steps to go through to be successful at developing land and mobile home packages. And it's been great in the first year. We have about 50 students, and we could do a better job. We probably have 300 students if we were marketing more. But we're busy operating, and we're taking those lessons and the things that we learn from operating and sharing those with the students that join our program. So we've got a whole online course and calls and one-on-one coaching that we do as part of that. But you can reach out to me if you want more information. But we love it. I love helping people.
Yeah.
And from the bottom of my heart, really just love helping and seeing people successful as an investor, but also the more people we can help, the more affordable housing that we can go and develop across this country.
Yeah. Well, I want to touch on that too, but I do want to reiterate for everybody. I when I was younger, building the proverbial empire, I always wondered why were the older guys so willing to teach and give and share? Why don't they just keep doing what they're doing if that's what's making them money? But it's the fulfillment part, and you just touched on that. It's you have to love people to teach because people will disappoint you. It's gonna be frustrating. But at the end of the day, there's enough of them that 6 months later, 6 years later, they're calling. I've had people call me after 20 years and say, Gary, I don't know if you remember me, but I've got a question for you. I was one of your students, and I've now got this big portfolio of properties that are paid off, and I want to know, should I sell them? Should I do that? So we help people put those in. We've created REITs, we've created closed-end mutual funds, so they can sell the assets to the fund, right? And then investors pay to be part of the fund. So you're essentially capping out, but you get the state maintain control. In any case, that's a side note. But the thing is, that's where the fulfillment comes from. When the people thank you for all the time you gave them to help them get up and running. They're not all going to do it, but enough of them do that really makes it worthwhile. And it is fulfilling. And that's the stuff that you can't put a price tag on. That's like, so to me, the money I realized later on is really the measurement of how well you do in helping others succeed. And when you
Right.
look at it that way, the money seems to flow more easily and you get a lot more happier people,
Yep.
you know. But hey, you mentioned affordable housing. I understand you've got we've got a program called the certified affordable housing provider that we have our agents go through. And it's through a third party. It's another guy I joint venture with out of Atlanta named Lou Brown. He's another great American, patriot, and he helps a lot of people. He remembers everybody's names and everything. But I understand you have something under your roof too that's has to do with affordable housing. Is it a program or is it something you bring people through? Can you touch on that a little bit too?
Are you talking about the land home, the education program, or you're referring to kind of how we sell the mobile homes to people?
Yeah, how you sell. So people, more Americans have a chance of owning a home. Yeah,
Yeah.
you help them with
So
credit checks and all that, and improving their credit, and just kind of unravel that a little bit if you don't mind.
yeah, for sure. That's a good question. So what we do in terms of setting up our manufactured housing and how we approach kind of the end product, which is what the buyers are buying, is we're setting up the homes to be HUD certified. And so when we set these homes up, they're set on a permanent foundation. They're attached to the land permanently, and which allows then it to be HUD certified. And if it's HUD certified, that allows for lots of different types of financing that's government backed. And so we're able to sell to a first time homeowner. We're able to sell to a USDA rural home loan. We're able to sell to a VA home loan. And in our experience, probably 90% of the people that we sell to are first time homeowners. And so they're qualifying under that FHA program. And then the rest, the 10%, maybe 2% as cash, but the rest are going to be USDA or VA financing. So it just offers and opens up an opportunity for these first-time homeowners to get an affordable house that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have been able to achieve.
Yeah. Well, I remember when HUD came out with that, it was basically the home buyer program. That I don't know what they call it today, but I actually was part of it up in Pennsylvania. And what we would do is, we were buying a lot of rentals and we were flipping homes. And I started renting to HUD approved and they came out with this program, and I had some tenants. I thought, I bet they would really love to be part of this. So we would approach them and walk them through. So they were renting one house. What I would do is help them go find another one. I would buy it, and I would bring them in and make them part of the remodeling project, not hammering nails and stuff like that, but being part of the decisions that were being made. What kind of refrigerator do you get? What color paint do you want? How many, you want to open up this wall? All that stuff. I would make the eventual owner part of, so they had skin in the game.
Right.
And then we get grants from the state for the down payment. And because it was a HUD, federal program, that loan, they got a great low interest rate loan. And boy, I tell you, it was a lot of work And what I did is I qualified as a contractor because of that. So I didn't pay myself a profit on the flip. I paid myself 10% for doing all the, coordinating the builder, the remodelers and the roofing people and all that kind of stuff. And the person got a great home at a much less than they would pay on the open market. And they got a step up in the world from HUD.
Yeah.
So I don't think that program's still available, but it sounds like there are definitely financing options. So everybody out there listening right now, whether you're you want to buy a home or you have a child or relative, you want to get in a home and they couldn't afford one otherwise, look up Robert and see if one of his students might be doing the program where you live, and reach out to HUD, see what they have to offer. Because their programs are out there, and we still want to have more homeowners in America. I know the policy coming out of D.C. and some of the states like California say otherwise. They're geared towards more rentals, but we haven't given up on homeownership. I don't, that's up to us. We have to make these things happen. That's what this country is all about. Don't rely on the government to tell you what to do. Find out what they make available and go do it yourself. And you have people like Robert helping you do that.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Can you give us a good story, a good we call them case studies or examples, and it could be something funny, something sad, or maybe you started off sad, it ended up being a good thing at the end. But to show people sort of the path that you go down when you're doing this, and it involves them too, and they eventually become the end user homeowner. I want them to really feel what this feels like, because even if they live in a nice home themselves, again, they might have a relative or a friend or a neighbor who could take advantage of something like this,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can think of many stories of our buyers that we've met that are first-time homeowners or whatever it may be. And I think every story, has a meaning and is a great. Our housing is a great evolution of that story, right? But in particular, last year we were working with homeowner. They were interested in buying one of our homes that we had set up, and they just got married, and so they came. I think they may have come the day before the wedding to closing, and so they were able to move in, and immediately after their wedding, and I think they already had some kids together, so. Be able to provide them with that house with the children and place to run. I think of another instance where sometimes we'll set up houses side by side, and so we'll have some more interaction. We'll sell one house, and then we'll still be selling another one next door, so we'll have some more interaction. And it just brings me joy to be able to go and see the house next door that we just sold. And there's a bunch of kids' toys in the area. I'm thinking of one house last year. You go back and they've got the little battery-powered four-wheelers running all over. The grass hadn't grown in yet, so the kids were probably loving it. The parents maybe not loving it, but the kids loving it, running their little four-wheeler battery-powered through all the mud. And you could tell that they were just so happy to be able to have a home and have space to run, and they had their dog out in the backyard with their grill and such. So they were proud to have that home ownership.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And it's, people to remember this, that if all of your inputs coming from the television, on the nightly news and all those syndicated programs, you're not going to have a complete view of what's possible out there. So never underestimate the resiliency of the human spirit, particularly never underestimate the resiliency of the American spirit. We're a nation of entrepreneurs. I know we've got a lot of employees. We need to have employees, but the entrepreneurs have made this nation great, and we still are. And just seek that type of information, seek that type of guidance, and find out what's available, because there's a lot of possibilities out there, a lot of growth. So looking forward. I always ask this question, Robert, and it's a crystal ball question, but it's not like a test. Nobody's going to hold your feet to the fire, but. What do you see trend-wise developing when it comes to housing in our country, and really particularly for you and what you and your family's doing? Where are you? What path are you on going forward? Is it continuing to do more of the parks, or you're looking to branch off anything else. So kind of tell us what your crystal ball is from going forward.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to. I was actually talking with somebody yesterday. I'd love to have a crystal ball, so I would know that I could do 1,000 houses next year and they'd all sell, right? But we don't have a crystal ball. But that being said, I do believe in the affordable housing space. I do believe it's going to continue to be a huge need, and especially as hopefully interest rates drop next year. I think we've got still a little bit of hesitance from the buyers on the interest rates. That will wear off, I think, over time as the new normal becomes the 5 or 6% interest rate instead of the 2 or 3% interest that we saw during COVID. And so I think that becomes the new normal, and so therefore buyers become more willing to move from where they're at into the next house, right? And so I think we start to see next year and in 2027 more movement amongst buyers and more opportunities and more first-time homeowners being willing to move and buy instead of waiting on that interest rate to drop.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm optimistic too myself. I mean, I just look and see what's happening. Really the biggest barometer we always have, at least for the last 100 years, has been the stock market. Just look what the stock market is, a great barometer and an indicator of what they think is going to happen. And quite frankly, it's done quite well. Now, obviously, we've had one heck of a long run here, and the people always ask, hey, do you think we're going to have a recession? I'd say absolutely yes. I just can't tell you when. But it's a mathematical certainty. It's going to happen. It could be very mild. It could be a big one, like in 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11. But you know what? If you look at the statistics, even back in those big recession years, the volume of transactions in real estate was only down 25%. And that's dramatic. That's a lot, roughly speaking. But it depends on how you look at it. I look at it as, what? That means 75% of the business is still chugging right along, And that's just the change your outlook, guys. If you have that pessimistic view, it might be the input you're getting from television. So pick up some good books, listen to good podcasts like this. And Robert, I want to go back to who you are and where you are. So are you looking for partners? Like if people want to work with you, can they just simply provide funding and be part of your next project? Or is it really, if they want to work with you, it's really through the training? Or tell us about that, and then how can people best find you?
Yeah, that's great. Love that question. So I'm happy for anyone to reach out to me. Gary, I'm not sure at the end of your show if you want to share my cell phone. People can text me, call me. Either way, great. That's the fastest way to get a response. And in terms of partnering, yes, we do partner with people. So if you have an opportunity that makes sense, we'd love to look at how do we JV together. Maybe you got a piece of land that you think would work great for a manufactured house, or maybe you're passionate about learning how to do affordable housing. Happy to partner up. As I mentioned previously on the show here, we also have an education program called the Land Home League. And that is our education program where we teach students across the country how to execute land home packages. And then finally, you mentioned funding. We are always looking for additional funding partners. And we've got a variety of different ways we can structure that and make sure that everybody's creating a win-win situation. We feel really good about these investments and really feel good about partnering with lenders to fund the deals.
Excellent. Yeah, if you want to share a website and a phone number, few people do that, but I tell you what, the people that share their actual contact information, particularly numbers, usually get a lot more out of the podcast. So
yeah. So I'll just say it now. My phone number is 864-293-2798. And that's my direct Verizon cell phone number. So just text me or call me. Happy to have a conversation. You can also find me online, Robert Howell, on Facebook or Instagram. And I've got a website, HowellsSons.com.
We'll write that down. Howell and and spelled out,
That's
AND,
right. That's right.
Sons.com. And you mentioned earlier you have an up and coming podcast. You're doing a few episodes. How do people find the podcast? I think that'd be good to show too.
Yeah, I'm on all the podcast platforms. It's called The Purpose Driven Investor. We've just gotten started. I think we're on episode 4. So maybe Gary, you can be episode 5. But yeah, we'd love for you to listen and join that. We're talking to investors about their purpose and what drives them, and learning more about the types of investments. So to date, we've had flippers on, we've had large multifamily investors on. And so really looking forward to having more and more guests on that show and learning about what their purpose is in investing.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to repeat some of this. So everybody listening, if you're driving, just keep driving. This will be in the show notes, so you can get back to it later on the website. But the podcast is Purpose Driven Investor, and I love that theme. And Robert Howell, Howell, is on social media, Facebook and so forth. The website is howellandsons.com. Okay. Phone number, area code 864. I got that one next to my brain already for my grants. And number is 293-3798. And if you want to have some training, look for the Land Home League, right? Like baseball league.
Right. That's right.
Excellent. You guys got the whole gamut there. And I can vouch for Robert because I know where he lives. My family is from that area. We have a lot of things in common. And there's not a bad soul that comes from upstate South Carolina. so keep that in mind. So Robert, thanks again for doing this, man. I appreciate it. And for the listeners, thank you for listening. We appreciate you. We appreciate your reviews. Definitely leave one for this one. That's what makes our podcast world go around. So do that. God bless you and all your loved ones. And we will see you on the next Massive Passive Cashflow Podcast.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Massive Passive Cashflow. Be sure to go to realestatewithgarywilson.com to join our community and start building wealth today.